Voice of the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group, Money at Work.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is the 15th day of September 2021. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, again, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember that the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. Those of you who unfortunately have lost loved ones, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. Those of you who are feeling under the weather, either at home or at a government facility, we want to wish you a speedy recovery. Those of you who are in quarantine, either as a precautionary measure or if you're hospitalized because of COVID-19, again, we also want to wish you a speedy recovery, and we want to wish the whole of the entire population of the Cayman Islands all the best in these very challenging times, times that can not only bring us together as a people, but also has the potential to divide us as well. But history has always shown that when there is a common enemy, and a common enemy in the Cayman Islands that I'm referring to at this point in time is the COVID-19, history has shown when there is a common enemy, people band together. They coalesce to challenge, to defeat that common enemy. We here in the Cayman Islands are no exception. We need to do the same. There will be those amongst us who will disagree with as far as the way forward, those who will disagree in terms of the remedies that we should employ to fight COVID-19. At the end of the day, if it is all directed towards saving lives, stopping people from being infected, not being selfish, but thinking about the common good then we will prevail. But there will be differences of opinion. We can all agree to disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable when we disagree as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. As usual, beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Yesterday evening, there was a press briefing that was held by the government, led by the Premier, Honorable Wayne Panton, as well as His Excellency the Governor, Martin Roper, also the Minister for Education, Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Sabrina Turner, and I believe in the audience were other government officials as well as ministers, including Honorable Kenneth Bryan. Along the way, there were some technical difficulties, and some of you may have missed part of the press briefing, so I'm going to try to share as much of it with you this morning as possible. I also want to remind you, as a part of my housekeeping chore this morning, that some members of the opposition will be on For the Record after the 8 o'clock news this morning as well. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email them to me here, For the Record, one word, For the Record at candw.ky, or WhatsApp 925-3261 as well. And no doubt, I'm sure that they will have the phone lines open for you to call in as well. But you may want to get any questions or observations in advance, because you know how the phone lines go. Limited time, but I can always squeeze in a question or a comment whenever I have control of the mic as well. So here we go with the press briefing. Pausing reopening plan amongst new COVID-19 measures. 14th September 2021. Premier Honorable Wayne Panton advised yesterday that the government would be pausing Phase 3 of the Cayman Islands border reopening plan for the rest of the year. Notice, pausing Phase 3, right? It is pausing. The Premier was speaking at a COVID-19 update press conference called to announce the government's response to a rash of new positives over the past few days that have been confirmed to be the result of community transmission. Premier Panton also announced the increase of the quarantine period for vaccinated incoming travelers from 5 days to 7 days, and said the entry of unvaccinated individuals will be limited. Geotagging will be re-implemented for all those in quarantine. This requirement was previously removed on the 9th of August for verifiably vaccinated travelers on a 5-day quarantine period, but will be reinstated for all quarantine periods. He also confirmed the reintroduction of COVID-19 suppression measures, including mask wearing mandates and safe distancing in public places. Additionally, the number of people allowed to gather indoors is likely to be reduced. Notice we said it's likely to be reduced to 100, and those gathering outdoors to 250. And why is the phrase is likely used? And that is because new regulations will be introduced shortly, clarifying all of the changes, and details will be provided at that time. However, Premier Patton emphasized that a lockdown is not envisaged at this time. Further security measures will be put in place specifically for those traveling to the sister islands in order to minimize the spread of COVID-19 in Cayman Brac and the Little Cayman, which have a proportionately large vulnerable population. Premier Patton reiterated that all measures are vitally needed to put a ring of protection around the vulnerable and especially children below the age of 12 who have currently, or I'll change the wording there, who currently have no vaccinations available. His Excellency Governor Martin Roper announced that the Cayman Islands has ordered booster shots for COVID-19 vaccine, which are now approved for those over 50 by the UK, and these are expected to arrive in short order. The need for all eligible residents to get vaccinated was once again re-emphasized by all members of the panel. As of 5 p.m. yesterday, a total of 7 community transmission cases had been confirmed, with the leaders underscoring that community transfer within the Cayman Islands was inevitable. Providing a recap on 3 community cases that came to light last week, Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee said the one inpatient is doing well and is in very stable condition. The other 2 are also stable and isolating at home. One additional individual has tested positive who is associated with this community transfer group and is quarantining at a government-approved facility, which brings that total to 4 community transfers in the last week's incidents. There have been 35 direct contacts and 48, including the households tested. An additional 40 individuals have been screened. Regarding this week's positive in a Georgetown in Georgetown Primary School, student who presented to the HSA flu clinic, 2 further students have been identified as positives for COVID-19 but remain asymptomatic. Following further contact tracing, 1 more individual has tested positive who may be connected to the Georgetown primary infection. Of the 45 students in Year 6 of Georgetown Primary School, 28 were tested and 3 have resulted in positives. The public health team swabbed over 600 people at Georgetown Primary School yesterday, and those results will come in gradually overnight so that a fuller picture emerges. That was what Dr. Lee said. Across Grand Cayman, there are 7 households that have tested positive for COVID-19, and all are in different geographical locations with no known common exposure amongst them. The Cayman Islands community transfer is now At the World Health Organization, lowest level of transmission at level 1, Dr. Lee said. Dr. Lee explained that public health will follow World Health Organization guidance on contact tracing, whereby only primary contacts of someone who is positive will be asked to isolate themselves. A direct contact includes someone living in the same household or someone having immediate physical contact, such as a hug or a kiss, and being less than 2 meters or 6 feet from the infected person for more than 15 minutes. Dr. Lee related that when in the UK recently, he spent time with family and friends going about daily life and realized by their collective experiences that it is possible to lead a full life in a community with COVID-19 transmission as long as safety protocols are followed. In attendance at the press conference at the Government Administration Building, and I gave you those names earlier as well. So that is the full report that was provided by Government Information Service on yesterday's press briefing. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we'll have a few minutes before the 8 o'clock news. After the 8 o'clock news, we will have members of the opposition in the studio, so please stay tuned.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Captain Harry Edison Glidden, 1901-1985. Captain Harry was a respected resident of West Bay. At the age of 17, under the auspices of his father, Henry London Ebanks, he went to sea. On these voyages, his father taught him the art of navigation. Within a few years, he obtained employment as a master mariner. In 1937, he joined his brother, Donald, as caretaker of Swan Island, where he spent the next 30 years in the employ of first the United Fruits Company and later the United States government. During his years on Swan Island, he provided employment for many Caymanians, including work on vessels, stopping there to pick up or drop off cargo. He and his wife, Flory Nee Ebanks, were active members of the Wesleyan Holiness Church of West Bay. Captain Harry contributed generously to the work of the church, both giving time and providing financial assistance. He was a loving father to his daughter and a generous philanthropist.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
We are island people. We know that hurricane season means preparation now, ahead of time, being ready ahead of the fury of nature we cannot control. Preparation that can make the difference between life and death, injury and safety, the misery of loss, the regret of procrastination. Know this now. Hurricane safety begins with you. It's your responsibility and mine. Your medicine, your valuable documents, your water, your place of safety during the storm. Your preparation now will directly determine your outcome during and after the storm. Prepare now. A message from Rotary Central. We serve to change lives.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola. Taste the feeling, Cayman.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamped Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have about 5-6 minutes before we go to our 8 o'clock news. After that, we will have members of the opposition in the studio. One of our listeners has written in and said, I have a question for good governance of the Cayman Islands and opportunities for other acting chief officers and other officers aspiring to be chief officers. Should chief officers be placed on term limits? Politicians can be changed every 4 years. Okay, well, first I should point out to you that here in the Cayman Islands, we inherited or we continue on with the British style of governance. And remember, at one point in time, they were called permanent secretaries as well. Now it has been changed to chief officer. But the mere fact that they were called permanent secretaries, I think that word permanent is self-explanatory. And people usually stayed on as permanent secretaries until they were promoted to other positions or until they retired. Now, acting chief officers or former permanent secretaries only act for a given period of time. I think at one point in time, the government policy was that you could only act for a 6-month period. Then I think it went on that they could extend it for an additional 6-month period to more than a year. And then, of course, they have adopted various strategies to sort of like get around that as well. But as far as chief officers are concerned, they basically hold that position until they either retired or they're promoted, or maybe in some instances demoted as well. Now, one of the other things that we could look at and an argument could be made is whether or not incoming ministers should have the right to choose their chief officers, or should that be the responsibility of the head of the civil service, who assigns, along with the governor, assigns the chief officers to each ministry. Then the other question would be, if should chief officers be rotated if possible? And previously in government, in the old days, as far as permanent secretaries were concerned, there was an expectation that permanent secretaries or chief officers could be moved from one ministry to the other, depending on their skill set, and maybe even depending on the choice of the minister. If the minister expresses a viewpoint that, in terms of his or her preference, that may be honored as well. Skill set is important, but I don't think that it is extremely important. For instance, you could have a person who's a chief officer in ministry, in a particular ministry, without any experience in that field, bearing in mind that chief officers are surrounded by heads of departments, heads of units. Those are what you would normally consider the technocrats, who know the ins and outs of the particular ministry and the particular subject. And the chief officers, to a certain extent, are the go-betweens between the politicians, the ministers, and the technocrats. The chief officers are charged with the seeing through the implementation of government policy. That is why you will hear ministers say, we only have so much control in terms of the, as far as the civil service is concerned. Now, I know that I've strayed away a little bit from what the person, was questioning, but chief officers, it's basically a permanent position unless you're moved, which is falls under the remit of the head of the civil service. Chief officers can be moved around, or they can be changed as well. It is not a lifetime position. Anyone aspiring to be a chief officer would normally have to be considered to be, once a vacancy is provided, for them to take the opportunity to apply for that position as well. And to point out that in terms of the competitiveness of chief officer, in this day and age, it is much more competitive than it was in the old days when you had the permanent secretaries, and those appointments were made basically by the head of the civil service, the governor, with very little or no competition being offered as well. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record with members of the opposition. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
Looking for better buys and better selection? You'll find it in the all-new Foster Specials catalog.
The Better Buys section features some of our best deals in the catalog, like Charmin Ultra Strong Bath Tissue. 8 rolls, just $9.99. Save $4.60.
While the Better Selection section highlights specialty products on special, like Mimo Mochi Ice Cream. 6-pack, just $4.99, save $2.50.
And with over 70 products on special in the catalog, it's easy to save big at Foster's.
Foster's. Better prices because we care.
Price is good until September 22nd, 2021. Find more specials at fosters.ky.
The 8 a.m. News is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Please be advised that the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 31st of December 2021. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. Changes on the way for government's COVID-19 measures. On Tuesday, as you heard live right here on Radio Cayman, the Premier announced that government is pausing Phase 3 of the Cayman Islands border reopening plan for the rest of the year. He also announced the increase of the quarantine period for vaccinated incoming travelers from 5 to 7 days and said the entry of unvaccinated individuals will be limited. Geotagging will be re-implemented for all those in quarantine. He also confirmed the reintroduction of COVID-19 suppression measures, including mask-wearing mandates and safe distancing in public places. Additionally, the number of people allowed to gather indoors is likely to be reduced to 100 and those gathering outdoors to 250. New regulations will be introduced shortly, clarifying all of the changes, and details will be provided at that time. However, the Premier stressed that a lockdown is not, quote, envisaged at this time. Premier again is pleading for the unvaccinated public to go get the jab.
I don't know how many different ways we can beg people to do it, but please, once again, go out and get vaccinated. We need to put a vaccinated wall of safety around our children. Our children cannot get vaccinated at this point. We are very much hoping that in the coming months we will be able to have authorization in implementing a vaccine program for children.
The Honorable Wayne Panson continued his plea by sharing a personal sentiment.
I know, unfortunately, what it is to lose a child, and it's not about economics. It's about a recognition that we don't know how long this is going to go on. Government has a responsibility to the country to plan for a future which might include, for some time, having to live with a virus that we need to manage.
In the meantime, His Excellency the Governor Martin Roper has confirmed that booster shots have been ordered for all relevant groups in Cayman.
We heard that the UK approved a booster program for over 50s and that Pfizer is the vaccine of choice for that program because it is well tolerated and has a very good effect.
He says they're waiting on word on when they arrive. He expects the booster rollout program to start in Cayman, quote, very soon. The Minister of Health announced on Tuesday that an additional 30 people will be deployed to the Public Health Department.
January of 2020, there were 69 staff in the Public Health Department. In January of 2021, that was increased to 72. In September of this year, it is now 83. And we're seeking to deploy and give an additional 30 persons in order to assist in that department so that we will have sufficient resources on hand in order to fight this fight.
The Honorable Sabrina Turner says the ladies and gentlemen of the public health staff have been under, quote, significant pressure.
But within our very nature, within our very DNA, in choosing that occupation of choice, we got it. We are ready.
And in light of Cayman's announcing new health and safety mandates regarding COVID-19, mask and face coverings are now mandatory for customers at all Foster supermarkets and Price Right locations. Managing Director Woody Foster.
We want to assure our customers that we are committed to a healthy and safe shopping environment. Masks and face coverings are now mandatory and an increased level of sanitation in store. We ask everyone to continue to remain calm, respect our team, and everyone around you.
The Cayman Islands Bankers Association says their retail banks have also decided to require all clients visiting bank branches to wear a mask and adhere to social distancing protocols effective immediately. You're encouraged to make use of their electronic banking services wherever possible. Members banks include Butterfield, Cayman National, CIBC First Caribbean, Fidelity, Scotiabank and Trust, and RBC Royal Bank. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. Dozens of Afghan female football players have managed to flee the Taliban and cross into Pakistan. The women and girls, many from national junior teams, wore burqas as they passed through a land border. They said they feared being targeted by the Taliban. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has called for the European Union to have the power to intervene militarily without the United States. In her State of the Union address, she asked what use were the most advanced forces in the world if you weren't prepared to use them. And that's the latest BBC World News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan's performance. For the year ended 30th of April, 2021, the various life cycle funds have provided returns between 10.5% and 43.2%. And our all-in expense ratio for year ended 30th of June, 2020 is currently the lowest it's ever been. 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
We are island people. We know that hurricane season means preparation now, ahead of time, being ready ahead of the fury of nature we cannot control. Preparation that can make the difference between life and death, injury and safety, the misery of loss, the regret of procrastination. Know this now. Hurricane safety begins with you. It's your responsibility and mine. Your medicine, your valuable documents, your water, your place of safety during the storm. Your preparation now will directly determine your outcome during and after the storm. Prepare now. A message from Rotary Central. We serve to change lives.
For the Health of It is heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. It is brought to you by Holy Cross Health. Quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding. Our mission is you. Call 1-954-351-5906. Email global services at holy-cross.com or visit Holy Cross Health at holy-cross.com.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Pan American Life Insurance Group can help you take your employee benefit solution to the next level. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we've always delivered on our promise. PALIG is the only insurer providing group policies to as few as 3 employees and has the ability to combine life, health, disability, and income protection to provide you and your employees with a complete employee benefits package. Let us customize your employee benefits solution today. Call us at 949-8304 or visit our office at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, or visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
That's a good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 81%. The barometric pressure is 29.91 inches and rising. The winds are calm. Overnight low temperature was 79 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers along with light southeasterly winds and slight seas are expected today. A tropical wave currently to the south of the Cayman area is expected to support some showers and possible thunder. The wave is to move west of the area later tonight. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the west-northwest. The National Hurricane Center is issuing advisories on Tropical Depression Nicholas. For more information on this system, you can visit www.nhc.noaa.gov. This system poses no threat to the Cayman Islands. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of afternoon showers and possible thunder. And temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Winds will be southeast at 5 to 10 knots and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight. Partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures falling to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be southeast at 5 to 10 knots and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Today's low tide will occur this morning at 11:50, high tide this evening at 6:40, and the sun will set this evening at 6:26 and rise tomorrow morning at 6:14. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday morning.
10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
We at Pan American Life Insurance Group are here to help you protect your family and your income. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we have always delivered on our promise. Life insurance is not only about death, but also about living benefits. We'll help you secure the life insurance, accident and sickness disability income you need to protect you and your family. Call us today at 949-8304 or visit our office, Unit 221 Cannon Place East, North Song Road, or visit www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Back to school can be a stressful time for families. Parents are trying to regain weekly schedules and structure. Meanwhile, children may struggle with anxiety about moving up a year, seeing their peers, or worse, encountering unfavorable bullying situations. Don't wait until the last minute to prepare for school. Quick tip, throwing a small back-to-school party for your child and their friends is a great way to ease back into the social element of school and can greatly reduce the first week anxiety. If you want to do it inexpensively, have a small party at your house with a handful of kids and a few snacks.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway.
Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at how your traffic is shaping up this morning. As we look to the Esley-Tibbetts Highway, steady traffic coming off of the Esley-Tibbetts Highway heading towards the Butterfield roundabout and moving right along until Northsound Road towards the Industrial Park area. Traffic steady but flowing. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, moderate flow of traffic. As we look to Cool Road, busy traffic heading to town. Some slight delays expected, and steady traffic on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz. That's heading to Georgetown, and from Georgetown heading to West Bay on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz. Traffic moving along moderately. Light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive and on North Sound Road, steady but flowing traffic. Light to moderate traffic flow on Owen Roberts Drive, and moderate flow of traffic coming from the West Bay 4-way stop. And busy traffic coming off the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way, and moderate flow of traffic off of Bobby Thompson Way, and busy traffic on the Linford Pearson Highway. That's very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic report. Have a good morning and drive safe, Cayman Islands.
Bro, do you really have to eat 2 sandwiches for lunch?
No, but one is for dinner. On Tuesdays at Subway, you can get the 2 subs for any size, plus a fountain drink for the price of 1.
Nah, Bobo, that sounds too good to be true. For real though, 2 subs for the price of 1 and a drink?
Each and every Tuesday now until September 28th. Buy any Subway sandwich in any size and a 32-ounce fountain drink and get an equal or lesser value sub for free. For every 2 for Tuesday purchase, be entered to win one of 3 LG 50-inch 4K smart TVs, a Grill Pro, or one of 2 retro bikes, plus many more prizes. Subway's 2 for Tuesdays is in partnership with Pepsi and Progressive Distributors. Prize drawing is September 30th. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details. The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today. So, do you have your tickets?
What tickets?
Your tickets for UCCI's first ever alumni homecoming. They're on sale now.
Hey, I don't want to miss that. When is it?
October 28th. There'll be a dinner gala, silent auction, live entertainment, and more. It's a chance to reconnect with UCCI, past classmates, and those instructors that helped change your life.
Where do I get my tickets?
At EventPro. They have discounted early bird tickets for only $75 per person, but after September 25th, prices are due to go up.
The alumni homecoming sounds great. I'm going to eventpro.ky right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's back, and it's bigger than ever. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman presents PACE, the annual Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life 5K walk, 10K run, and 15K ride event. That's right, parents, kids, young and old. We want you to be a part of the movement to help bring awareness to the fight against prostate and colon cancer. Starting at the Lions Community Center on Sunday, September 19th. Registration fee is only $25 and includes a free shirt and gift bag. The more people that sign up and register, the bigger the fight against prostate and colon cancer. Sunday, September 19th at the Lions Center. Get ready to pace yourself as the Lions Club of Grand Cayman presents the annual Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life 5K walk, 10K run, and 15K ride event. For additional information, please feel free to contact 938-1711 or 526-1711. Sign up today on CaymanActive.com.
For additional information, please email pace@cnw.ky.
The Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life is proudly sponsored by Dart Enterprise, Cayman Seafarers, Maples Group, Bodden Holdings, CUC, Water Authority, and NTEC. Dress for success and demonstrate school pride by learning and following the National Dress Code policy and the specific dress code for each government school. Under the National Dress Code policy, boys' hair must be cut short and of natural color. Uniform shirts must be neatly tucked in, undergarments concealed, sneakers or shoes black, and jewelry limited to a wristwatch. Take pride in your stride today. View the complete dress code policy at www.education.gov.ky. This is a message from the Ministry of Education.
For the Record with Orett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the Record with Orett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the leader of the opposition in our Parliament, Honourable Roy McTaggart, and Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Joey Hew. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Good morning to the wider Cayman Islands. Thank you for hosting and having us here this morning. Delighted to be here with you for the next while to discuss topical items of topical interest this morning. So delighted to be here.
Good morning, and as well, thank you so much for having us this morning. And it does feel good to be back in the studio with you. And we look forward to having a robust discussion this morning, and hopefully this will become a more regular occurrence with us in the studio. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Hew, I know Georgetown Primary School and what has occurred there in terms of the positive COVID-19, that falls within your constituency. Anything that you want to comment or say about that?
Yeah, thank you. I sent a message out yesterday morning to most of the chat groups, once we heard the news, and just encouraged persons to remain calm and to follow the protocols that Public Health have put out for them to do so, and to take advantage of the testing that was set up at the school. I read this morning that there were some 600 people tested yesterday, and I think it's important, and I would just encourage those persons who have tested negative to continue to be cautious and to continue to follow the safety protocols of wearing a mask and hand sanitizing, etc., over the next few days, and keep an eye on their kids to ensure that they are not displaying any symptoms of the virus, and if they do, to contact the hotline as soon as possible. Like I said, I think it was, and I want to congratulate all of those who went out and got tested and followed the rules yesterday and the recommendations by Public Health. And it's certainly an upsetting time within our community, and one that causes quite a bit of confusion and concern. But, I think we are at a place, certainly as a country, at a place where we have the ability to handle these outbreaks if we all just follow the rules and do our part in containing this outbreak.
Okay. Mr. McTaggart, in my monologue this morning, I spoke about people coalescing, getting together when there's a common enemy to be defeated. In the health area, COVID-19 is the common enemy here in the Cayman Islands at this point in time. I know you recently wrote a letter to the Premier, the Honourable Wayne Panton, as well. Can you speak about your efforts and your desire for us to coalesce and to defeat this common enemy, COVID-19?
Thank you for the question, OC. I think it really behooves us all to come together and do this. And as you rightly say, I have expressed our support for the government in a number of the decisions that they have taken with regard to the COVID-19 outbreak. We've also offered our services and help as well to get together with them, and because we believe that with we had more than a year's of experience in dealing with it from the outset, and we think we do have a lot more to contribute. And I would hope that the Premier might see fit or different to change the stance that he took yesterday, because effectively he said no thanks. And so we will continue to play our part in the opposition. I believe as the opposition we do have a role to play, and our voice needs to be heard and considered. Government might not accept the advice, but at least they have heard our advice and heard our pleas or heard our position and considered it. That's, I think, would be acceptable to me, that we know that they are hearing it and considering it and acting on the advice that we are giving. But okay. I think as a community, it is absolutely essential that we all have to come away. We saw it sometimes where they were just, in the lockdown period and the early days of this virus, that there were an element in our society that were bent on not observing the rules and the regulations, and that mindset, I believe, needs to change. I think it was a minority, and by and large, people do comply. But you do get those elements that groups of people that don't, and they endanger us all. It's not just themselves. And that's, I think, one of the features we need to remember. It's not just about the individual who says, I'm not going to get vaccinated. It's what he or she can do in terms of spreading the virus, if they get it, to other people, their family and friends.
Okay. Now, in the absence of any acceptance by the government in terms of any assistance or advice that you would offer as an opposition, as a party, what is it that you can do to encourage people without it appearing as if you're taking over the role of the government? Because there can only be one government at any point in time. But at the same time, what can you do that is quite obvious that you're not seeking to be the government, but you're trying to do your part in terms of keeping the people of the Cayman Islands safe?
Well, just from my own perspective, OC, I think things like, back in, I think it was July, I got together with the Premier and we did a 2 to 3 minute video, really encouraging people to go ahead and get themselves vaccinated, stressing the importance of it, the risks if they didn't get it, that sort of stuff, and really making a plea. We can do more of that. We have continued to encourage as well, not just in situations like that, but as the opposition, we are telling people and our constituents, if you haven't done it, please go ahead and get it. We're making the same pleas, following the same route playbook that the government is doing. But sometimes, there are challenges when you are the opposition to be able to make these things work perfectly without appearing to be political, because the role of being opposition is it in our system, in the parliamentary system, it is adversarial, and you see those things do creep out sometimes in things like this, even though that's not what your intent may be. So we want to be positive, we want to be helpful, and we want to assist the government.
Okay, Mr. Hew.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, not at all. I agree with the leader, and it's there is something to be said about experience, and despite the system we have and the adversarial role that the opposition can play at sometimes, there are certain subjects that are not political. And I think the health and safety of our country is one of those. And so, I had hoped and I wish that even at a minimum, we would be given the same updates that the government were given, so that we could offer our input at that stage rather than having to come on the radio or waiting to hear from the government and then prompting us to have our own press briefing, which looks political. But we have no other choice. If we're not hearing from the government, if we're not included in the discussions, if we're not being updated by Public Health or Dr. Lee or anyone, the only choice we have then is to speculate on our own and to come out and ask the questions in public. And so that's the two roads we can take. We can take that road where, a government sitting on the opposite side that have experienced for the last 12 months prior to this experience dealing with, or more than that actually, dealing with this virus. I know that the Premier continuously says that the lock and shutting down was the easy thing to do. He certainly wasn't in the room with us when we made those decisions and the types of phone calls and and abuse that we receive from certain sectors of the public. But it is very much the same thing. We are kind of back in the same situation where the government is now challenged with one thing, and that is reopening the country safely. And I think that is very similar to what we did when we reopened the economy safely last year. But there is a differential, and that differential is a vaccine. And as the leader said, we have played our role, and we continue to encourage those who are willing and those who are able physically to go out and get vaccinated, so that we can look forward to an opening. And I know that, I keep hearing people saying that we cannot stay closed forever, and that is true. On the other hand, we keep saying that, we're putting lives before the economy or lives before money, which is also very important. So this is a challenge of the government, is to find that route that takes the country down to a safe reopening, and not having knee-jerk reactions to one outbreak or two outbreaks, and looking a little further down the road and figuring out what is the extent of the outbreak, and doing the evaluation of our frontline, doing the evaluation of our public health services. Can we handle it? And these are how we make those decisions. But we would love to be in the room, or at least updated by public health, so that we can have a better understanding of what the government is thinking and support them where we think that we're going in the right direction.
Okay. The only thing I would add to what he has said, OC, is that I did write as well to the Chief Medical Officer this week, asking for him or public health really, to give the opposition updates on a regular basis, so to deal with the very issue that he has raised, because we at the moment we know nothing more than what is in the public domain, and it would be extremely helpful to our position as well, and to us discharging our responsibilities.
And you shouldn't ignore the fact that both of you were re-elected with majorities, so there's a large segment of the population in terms of your constituents that you represent and would have potentially some influence over in terms of adhering to the rules, following the government policies, going and getting vaccinated and things of that nature. We're going to talk more about that when we return. Also, as a former Minister of Finance and a former Minister for Infrastructure as well, finance is going to play, or the financial position of the Cayman Islands is going to be extremely important. We see the continuation of upgrade to roads, possibly projects in terms of new roads that were planned. And if you were in government now as it is, what would you propose to do differently, or what would you do differently in terms of the financial position of the Cayman Islands, in terms of the way forward? What programs maybe need to put to one side to be able to focus on the issue at hand? Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Had a look at those investment options yet?
Too busy. Look at today.
Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers and the motoring public of planned works to upgrade the water supply infrastructure along Palmdale Avenue, Success Circle, Mevard Close, and Damascus Close. Preliminary work will begin the week of 6th September. Work will take place weekdays between 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The project will last for approximately 12 to 15 weeks. During the course of the works, traffic management measures will be in place, with signs directing the traffic flow. Motorists are encouraged to drive with caution when they are in the area to protect their safety and the safety of the Water Authority's staff. Customers in the area may experience service outages throughout the work. The authority will make every effort to give advanced notice related to outages. Customers can visit our website www.waterauthority.ky for outage notices. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it undertakes these works and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
If you think you might be infected with COVID-19, take these steps to help prevent other people from getting sick. Stay home except to seek medical care. Call your doctor before visiting. Separate yourself from others who live with you. Wear a mask. Cover your coughs and sneezes with a tissue and clean your hands right away. Schedule a COVID-19 test by visiting hsa.ky. Stay aware of how you feel. If you start to have difficulty breathing or if you're worried about your health, call your doctor. For more tips, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
Hey Dwayne, it's another Siwa saying.
Is it?
Yes, this Friday the 17th of September.
You sure this Friday is the 17th? So, what are we talking about?
Tell me something. You know what the bird is on the 1 cent?
Do we still have a 1 cent? I didn't realize there was a bird on the 1 cent. There's a bird on the way, huh?
Tell me what bird is it on the 1 cent?
I don't know. Tell me. Ching ching. A nightingale. Banana bird.
Try again.
Pigeon.
Join us this Friday and find out. That's a cliffhanger.
Really?
Special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
Join us this Friday.
I heard about thrush moat and bulrush and thrush in the pond.
It's a bird.
It's a bird?
It's a bird.
Bird on the way? Bird on the 1 cent? Is it 1 cent, 10 cent,
yes.
5 cent, dollar?
The HSA Specialist Clinic has relocated to a new, modern, state-of-the-art facility at Smith Road Center to offer you a better patient experience. Receive care from top specialists in chiropractic, complementary and alternative medicine, neurology, ENT, urology, pain management, and more. Our orthopedic and telemedicine clinics remain at the Cayman Islands Hospital campus. Please remember to bring your own face mask when visiting any HSA location. Visit our website, hsa.ky, to learn more. At the HSA, you matter to us.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Joey Hew. This is their first time on For the Record since the elections, and we're told that this is going to be a regular schedule that they will try to uphold in terms of being, if not on For the Record, definitely on Radio Cayman and other shows as well. So, finance, infrastructure, big infrastructure, big driver in our economy here in the Cayman Islands, especially the government part of things, providing jobs, providing security to Caymanians, Caymanian workers as well. Our financial position, because of, many believe, because of the robust financial position that we found ourselves in, that we so far have been able to weather this storm. And I'd like you to speak about those things.
Sure. And thank you for that to OC. I think I have to, I do take quite a bit of credit here for where the position that we left the government in. Finances were, and I think still continue to be, relatively healthy, a healthy position. But it is no secret that we continue to spend more than we are taking in revenues. And, that in a longer term is unsustainable. We still have very healthy cash reserves, but they are dwindling. And government at this point do have access to that $320-odd million line of credit that we had put in place as an emergency use. They have indicated that they are going to be drawing down completely on that loan before the end of the year in order to fund the many things that they intend to bring to the House in October, November in the budget. So they have would appear to me to have some very large spending plans. And, it remains to see, as I would always say, that the devil is in the details. And while those things are quite, maybe some of it is quite necessary in terms of keeping the economy going, because that's what a government does, is that, government spending particularly is expansive. It supports the economy. It provides money into the economy to circulate, provides employment, all the good things that you want. But, with all the spending that you have, that's going on now and what they're planning for, that in the next 2 years, and borrowing such a significant amount of money just, wholesale now, another $300 million, that would be the largest, sort of debt financing that the country has ever undertaken. The question then becomes what comes after, because these sort of levels of spending and borrowing clearly would not be sustainable, and I would never expect that they would, have to go back into, borrow another 300, 400 million. I just don't see that in the next 3 to 4 years.
What do you say to those who would argue that, that line of credit was actually put in by your administration? Why put it there if there's no intention of using it?
I wouldn't say there was never any intent on using it. It was there to do because of the grave uncertainty as to how things were going to unfold. We took that decision to do so purely as a precaution. Okay. And we knew at the time when we were doing that, other countries were as well. They were all in the market looking for funding. And the advice that we were given certainly was that it is better to do it now rather than later when there is funding is available,
right?
Rather than later when everybody else has taken up all the funding and they're the circumstances are all changed and you have difficulty accessing funding in place and when you might need it. So it was purely an insurance policy for us, and we believed, and I still believe, that with careful spending, you can stretch this out far longer. But a new government is now in place and they have their own priorities and stuff. So, the landscape for them has certainly changed. And, they clearly see the $300 million there as money that is available for them to go ahead and borrow and to use it to achieve their own goals and objectives.
Okay, Mr. Hew, anything to add?
Yeah, I think just following up on what the leader said, I mean, we took an approach that the line of credit that we secured was there for COVID-related items. It was never intended that we were going to use that line of credit to finance our capital projects. We sat down and we looked at the capital projects once we went into or entered into the shelter-in-place period, and we looked at those and prioritized those. We saw what was budgeted for, and we made a decision basically that if needed, which projects we would put on hold, which projects we would continue based on a priority basis. But it was not the intention of the government to use the line of credit to to finance our capital projects. We have always maintained that we were not going to finance our capital projects through debt, and that certainly wasn't what that line of credit was for. The situation now as it is, we've seen almost a complete halt on most capital projects over the last few months, I guess. I assume as the government is reevaluating or reassessing the situation. We just recently approved another over $50 million in funding, majority of that COVID-related. So we're not quite sure whether they're going to wait until next year to resume the capital projects that have been put on hold using borrowed funds or not, but it certainly seems that way. And I just think it's unfortunate that this time, if the funding is there, if the budget was there for these capital projects, now is the time to do them while we're still while our borders are still closed. There are necessary infrastructure projects that have been put on hold for many years because of the interruption that it would have brought to the country with traffic, etc. So, West Bay Road being one of those things. It was only a matter of time, if all things being equal, before more persons were going to be severely hurt, if not killed, on the West Bay Road. More and more people are riding scooters, riding bicycles. More and more people are using the West Bay Road pedestrian, especially when we had the cruise ships. And it was built like a racetrack for vehicles, very wide lanes and straightaways with a median that you can overtake in it. And so I think projects like that are imperative to get done while our borders are closed, and to prepare us. We're not going to be closed forever. We accept that we can't be closed forever. We hope we won't be. We can talk about what type of tourism we're going to reopen with. We can talk whether we're going to focus on stayover versus cruise. It doesn't matter, but we have to reopen at some point. And when we do reopen, we should reopen with a fresh product for our visitors and a safe product for our visitors. And that's one of my biggest concerns with some of these projects that have been put on hold. And then the everyday life of our average citizen. Traffic right now, without 20,000 or 30,000 tourists in the island, without rental cars on the road, on a Saturday afternoon, you can't move around at all. And some of the bypass roads and some of the connector roads that were being built, our traffic modeling system that we invested in at the National Roads Authority told us would relieve the pressure in those particular areas.
Okay, we have to go to a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. A conversation with Mr. MP and Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Roy McTaggart, and Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Joey Hew, will continue, so please stay tuned.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamt Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Had a look at those investment options yet?
Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader, Honourable Joey Hew. Over to you, Mr. Leader.
Yeah. Right, just going back to talking to the about the financing and government's finances, and just one point really to highlight, and that is their intent to finance their capital spending with debt, and that is a very significant departure and change from what we did during the 8 years that we were in government. We financed all of our capital spending from our revenues, our recurrent revenues, and as a result of that, we paid down the country's debt by almost. It was more than 50% because, like nearly 600,000, it was like 240,000 million.
No, that bullet bond was there as well?
Yeah, but we paid down a very significant portion of it and refinanced the rest at very attractive rates and so with the borrowing of the addition, that borrowing drawing down on that line of credit now, it will take our debt back up to well over $500 million. Not sure the exact sum. So it's a very distinct change. I think I can't say personally that it's for the better, but they do seem to have a very ambitious capital spending program over the next 2 to 3 years. We await the details as to what those capital projects are and are likely to be, and that. One of the challenges I think they will experience, as well as we saw it from time to time as well, is just challenges in getting things done in the time period that you had. You always find with capital projects that there are delays, that there are for any myriad of reasons, and your best laid plans don't always come to fruition. And it remains to be seen, I think, what those details are with regard to the capital spending and whether resources will be there to really help them to achieve that.
Okay, Mr. Hew.
Thank you. And just going back to the economy, or sticking along with the economy, one of the areas that we focused on, and I'm happy to know that out of the 50 million that we voted on, or they voted on a few weeks ago, that some of that funding was going towards small businesses and in particular the water sports industry. I think, without knowing, and again without information, I have to say these things, but without knowing the extent of this recent outbreak, and I did not hear in the press conference yesterday, and if it was said and I didn't hear it, I apologize, but I did not hear any plans to go out and start testing frontline persons to see just how wide this community spread is. That's what we did when we were reopening the economy. We tested airport, customs, supermarkets, healthcare workers, all of the frontline people that are in touch with people on a daily basis. We did a sample. When we were opening construction, we did the same thing. This gives you an indicator of how widespread the virus is within the community. And then based on that information, then you can decide how we deal with the local economy. But to implement restrictions on numbers of persons and possibly restrictions on people within enclosed spaces, etc., an economy that is already struggling. And we're not just talking about the hotels, we're talking about, and the restaurants, we're talking about event services, concierge services, promoters, transport persons, water sports persons. A lot of them live on things such as Halloween, Thanksgiving, Pirates Week. These are local events that they are surviving on while they await the opening of the borders. And again, I said that the differential now has been the vaccines. And in particular, once we can do the booster for the frontline workers and those who are most at risk, why not do the same thing they did with the parades, where you have to show that you have been vaccinated to participate? They did it successfully with the 2 parades, one would argue. Restaurants can actually, or clubs can actually check vaccine cards on entry. We have contained it here. So the scare is no longer, if we're going to change if we're going to not open the borders anytime soon, if we're going to go back to the change and increase the quarantine period for travelers, then let the economy survive, and let us put things in or processes in place that will allow those who rely on the tourism product or used to rely on the tourism product to survive by using, like I said, the differential of the vaccine. So instead of just immediately stopping, and for how long we don't know, public gatherings or persons or dining indoors, etc. Why don't we start to do what we did do it like the way they did it with the parades, where you have to prove that you have been vaccinated in order to attend one of these events, or give the restaurants and places an option to check for vaccine cards on entry to the restaurant. I think these are one of the areas that I would ask the government to go back and review and speak to the industry to give them a fighting chance. Many of them, some are closed now. Some closed and said the end is at sight, so it's cheaper for me to close for the next couple of months until they reopen the borders. We don't know whether they will reopen. Many were hanging on by a string, waiting on the border openings. And if we tighten the noose around them any further, that will be the end of them. And I think, I don't have all the information in front of me. I don't know what the government knows. But from an economic perspective, in a local economy, that is one area that I ask them to please review it carefully and work with the industry to find a way that they can have some continuity.
And you're talking about basically working with what we have here, not necessarily looking to increase the tourism product in terms of allowing tourists to come.
But they have made that decision.
Yes.
And they have sent it out to the world that we're closed until next year. Yes. They can't, if they even pull that back, it's not going to change anything. People now have triggered, everybody went online last night and booked their vacation somewhere else and bought airline tickets somewhere else and applied for their refunds for the tickets that they already bought. I think one of the things that we all learned about, something that I never thought about prior to COVID was travel insurance. You don't book anything now without travel insurance, so that when you cancel it, you can get a portion of your money back. I think the horse has left the gate on that one. All across the world, it has probably been reported by now that we are closed until next year, and that's I think they, again, without having that information that they have, without having all the details that they have, that may have been premature to say until next year. But they've made that decision based on the information they have, and they have taken the position to put the health and safety of all people first. But if you have decided, now that you have made that decision, now that you have closed the country for the rest of the year, you have to do all that you can to assist those who are most vulnerable at this point, and the businesses. Because when we do reopen next year, we need to have those restaurants. We need to have those water sports operators. We need to have those concierge services, those private chefs. We need to have the hotels. We can't open without those things. And so we have to do everything that we can if we are going to shut them out. everything that we can to ensure that they survive and assist them in surviving in the local economy.
Okay, we're going to go to our headline news for 9 o'clock, very short period. When we return, I'd like us to talk a little bit more about mandates, vaccine mandates, mask mandates. We know that right now the emphasis has always been on the vaccine. That is the only answer that we have to COVID-19, in addition to all of the protocols as far as hygiene is concerned. Let's talk about vaccine mandates and where should we be going with that. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The team at Public Health swabbed more than 600 people at Georgetown Primary School on Tuesday after a student tested positive for COVID-19 on Monday. At least 2 additional students have tested positive. More results were expected to come in overnight, so make sure to keep it locked as we bring you the latest information on your official source, Radio Cayman. A major row broke out between leaders of the Taliban just days after they set up a new government in Afghanistan. Supporters of 2 rival factions reportedly brawled at the presidential palace in the capital, Kabul. The argument appeared to center on who did the most to secure victory over the U.S. and how power was divided up in the new cabinet. The Taliban has officially denied the reports. And Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry has been banned from leaving the country amid an investigation into his alleged involvement in the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. A prosecutor is seeking charges against Mr. Henry, who has been asked to explain his links with a key suspect in the killing, Joseph Felix Badio. Records show the 2 men had multiple phone calls just hours before the assassination. Mr. Moïse was killed at his home on July 7th. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio, the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader, Honourable Joey Hew. Before we go on the subject, or continue on the subject of vaccine and possibly mandates, one of our listeners has asked me to please ask you if you plan to take any action if the PAC government proceeds to, quote, borrow and spend, close quote, the country's reserves in social vote buying programs and not also on economic stimulating programs.
Well, I can go ahead and try and make a stab at that. Sure. Very tall question that the listener has given. I think it is fair to say and preface all of this by saying that they are already spending the reserves. We were already spending the reserves. So that's what you have reserves for. It is for that rainy day. Mm-hmm. And we have had a hurricane. And that rain still continues to come down. And we are spending faster than we take it in. And we're doing that to support the economy and to support our people who are most in need. So that will continue, I have no doubt, until the economy recovers. The devil really comes into the details, OC, in terms of what their plans are. And we can sit here and we can speculate. I don't really like to do that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we, as the opposition, I think we'll wait and see what their plans are, their spending plans are, as to how we start to deal with it. We will certainly air the issues within, Finance Committee when we get there in examining the budget. I am forever mindful that the opposition here, we can never really stop anything because we are the minority. And I always remember the former leader of the opposition, Mr. Hardin McLean from East End. He always says the opposition can have its say, but the government must have its way. And that is true. I believe that. And so we have to see really what those details are and how much of social programs they intend to implement. I always caution, when governments seek to implement these sort of entitlement programs, because once they start, they never end. And even if it is done for a good and noble purpose, and they all are. But I take something, for instance, like, some of the programs that we have had, it's going to be difficult to wind those down, immediately or even over the shorter term. It's going to take a good while. So I maybe hedging a little bit, but I just don't know what their real plans are in terms of these social programs that your listener has referred to.
Okay. Mr. Hew, anything to add?
No, I think the leader covered it. It's these are something, and again, it's we keep talking about not being closed forever, and I think the person that sent in the message, if I read the message or understood the message, they have concerns that we are no longer focusing on economic growth because of the pandemic and focusing just on social programs. Yes. And if you accept that we will have to open one day, or that this will not be here forever, then it would be short-sighted of us to cut out all of our plans on the economic front. I don't know whether that is if they're doing that because these were some of the policies of the previous government. They just decided we're just going to scrap them. No idea, or whether it is that they have parked them because of the pandemic. But either way, it may turn out to be short-sighted in doing so, and may cause the recovery time to be much longer than we can sustain. There are concerns that the longer our borders remain closed, even the financial services are struggling now with things such as personnel. We have to accept that we don't have enough persons or bodies on island to fill all of the positions, especially if we're going to continue to grow or maintain that sector of the economy. I know there is an issue with Caymanians having upward mobility and hitting that glass ceiling, but we certainly don't have physically the amount of people needed to support that industry. And if it becomes more and more difficult for those firms and those services to fill those positions because persons have left the country because they haven't seen their families in 2 years, they find it too difficult to go back and forth, and it's much easier to be even employed by the local firm, but located in a different country, that they have the ease of travel, they can visit their families, etc. I think in the longer our borders remain closed, these are issues that we're going to start seeing popping up in that sector of the economy, which has been carrying us along with construction. And then when we look at construction, we don't see a whole lot of new projects starting. We have a couple of projects that have started that will continue will continue until they're completed, hopefully. But they are facing many challenges as well. They're facing global challenges. They're facing challenges with supplies, cost of supplies, challenges with not being able to sell product because persons aren't able to get to the island. We did have a rush earlier this year, people buying what they call sight unseen. But I think that has all leveled out now. That has all slowed down. And we probably will not have the level of revenue from transactions, real estate and construction transactions, importations, like we did in the first quarter of this year. I mean, we broke just about every record in revenues from real estate and construction transactions. But I think that is now peaked, and that will slow down and continue to slow down. And so we have to be cautious. And I am concerned about moving forward, and how we do that, and how long it will take us to actually recover from this.
Now, some political pundits and observers would look at the dichotomy based on what you said earlier in terms of the driving forces, the economic drivers in the Cayman Islands. You spoke to construction, spoke to finance. There are political observers who feel that the PAC government is in place, that we had so many independent members of parliament elected because the public sentiment, or the majority of the public sentiment, was what should be done for the individual Caymanians, those who are struggling, those who need the assistance. And they have taken that and sort of put up a mirror and said, well, the progressives were more for business. They were more business oriented. And the PAC government is now more towards the people and addressing the needs of the people, not necessarily through construction, not necessarily, through finance, but getting the people involved, getting them employed in areas where they can earn a living wage. What do you say to that?
I think I'll go first, since it was in response to my comments.
Yeah.
Let us very quickly go back to 8 years ago, when the first administrations that we were involved with, the country was broke. Okay? We fast forward 8 years later, and even the PAC government, the funds that they have and the position that they have, even after 1 year of a pandemic, the country is still in a good financial position. Mm-hmm. We would not be in that position had it not been for growing the economies. That's simple. You cannot find revenue to help the people if you're going to be taking it from the people. And so the only economies we have are tourism and financial services. We don't have any natural resources to export. We have no factories. And therefore, and I should say that the finance economy and the tourism economy together supports what the falls, or the third economy, construction, because without attracting firms and attracting and growing local financial services, they wouldn't need more buildings. And without attracting talent to Cayman to work in those industries, you wouldn't need more homes. And without attracting tourists, you don't need more hotel rooms. And if more hotel rooms, you need construction. And that's just the way that works. Now, we had many programs in place, and I think the most topical one, as I said to you before, there are concerns surrounding upward mobility of Caymanians in the workplace. But what we had to do first was provide those jobs for them. And how do you provide those jobs is to attract those businesses. Then we work on making sure that the end game of attracting those businesses is to the benefit of Caymanians. You hire them, you train them, and you provide them with upward mobility. And that's what we were working with Work WRC. That's the direction we were going with it. The second biggest issue that our people were facing in that regard was that of housing. And again, it was an unintended consequence of rapid development or rapid growth within the economy. But we were working on, we had a multi-agency committee put together to see how we could leverage the recent real estate and development boom to help Caymanians. And I think a lot of us, in the past, a lot of people saw the National Housing Development Trust as simply an agency that would provide homes to what we consider here low-budget homes. But we could take it much further. The NHDT can become an agency that provides homes and ability to help Caymanians own homes and land regardless of their financial position. And you do that, there's programs all over the world. You don't have to reinvent them. There's shared ownership with the government. There are opportunities for persons that are putting in for pad developments or large developments, and you say to them, but you also have to produce homes in this category. And we will give you the normal assistance and if even needed, concessions, but you're going to sell us a portion of those homes at cost. And then the National Housing Development Trust is going to turn around and use the process that they use all the time to select Caymanians who would benefit from owning those homes, and then go through the process with them. Okay. So there's several programs. I met a young man that used to live in Cayman, and speaking with him in London, he was telling me that about their shared home program there, where him and the government together bought a home. He started out with 20%. Then each year he bought a bit more, bought a bit more, bought a bit more. And then when he sold, he got up to about 40 or 50% ownership. He was able to share his percentage ownership to another person and then move on and purchase himself something else. So there are a lot of programs that we could adopt here and adopt here. All of these were fantastic plans, and I know there are people sitting out there shaking their heads saying, well, why didn't they do it when they were in power? We had a thing called COVID. And unfortunately, that was a game changer. We were just finding our pace as a government. Certainly myself as a minister was just finding my pace, into my second year when COVID hit, and we had to park these. I did meet with the current minister, and I informed him of the work that had been done and which one of the deputy governors, project managers had responsibility for the work, that a lot of work had been done in that particular area. So again, we come right back to it. We can't provide jobs for Caymanians without attracting the businesses that will employ them, and we can't provide social services and housing, etc., unless we have revenue coming in. And so it's a delicate balance.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we'll have the Leader of the Opposition give him an opportunity to respond as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy to understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamt Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
Optical Outlook Caymanian Village location has moved. Same great services and products, new location. We've moved to Anderson Square in central Georgetown. It's a much larger space with dedicated parking. Please call us on 746-2020 to make your appointment at our new location today. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Please come see the difference with Optical Outlook, Cayman's premier optical provider.
And here's a reminder, a COVID-19 vaccination clinic will take place this evening, Wednesday, 15th of September, at the East End Health Center from 5 until 8 p.m. That's from 5 until 8 p.m. Face masks and government IDs are required, and parental consent needed for ages 12 to 17. Once again, that is a COVID-19 vaccination clinic taking place this evening, Wednesday, 15th of September, at the East End Health Center.
Join us on Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. on Radio Cayman for The Business Buzz. The Business Buzz is produced by Susan Watson and hosted by Anita Khan, who brings her own unique, enthusiastic, and engaging perspective to The Business Buzz. Tune in as we put a spotlight on a wide cross-section of businesses in the Cayman Islands. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. on Radio Cayman.
For the record with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to thank those of you who are sending in your questions and your comments as well. I just want to remind you that the phone lines are open as well. Our toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990. And, of course, you know the WhatsApp number, 925-3261 as well. If you have any questions, observations, or comments, we certainly would welcome them. We know that you're out there listening, but I also know that the conversation and the topic is so compelling at this point in time that you're just simply chose to listen as well. So, Mr. Leader of the Opposition, anything you want to add to what Mr. Hew had to say?
Yeah, I do. And OC, I remember what you said when you framed the question as well with regard to the progressives and our administration being perceived as not for the people, that we didn't do anything for them. And I think it's really worthwhile reminding the populace that we did quite a bit. Okay. We did quite a lot. And one of the things which is certainly in the very first term which we were in office, we reduced taxes for the people. And we continued that through into the second term and targeted specifically the elderly in our community. And I think it was 2019 to the early 2020, we started to reduce the amount of the fees that the elderly would be called on to pay. It's given 25, 50%, and sometimes 75% discount from the standard fees that they would have to pay. In terms of the most vulnerable in our society, we had gone and we had increased the amount of assistance that they can qualify for with the needs assessment unit. That went from $550 to $950 over a 4-year term. So that's 75% increased. And we extended that too. I mean, even pensioners who were earning, a couple $100. We said, if you served a certain amount of time in the government, we wanted you to have that minimum amount. And we thought it unfair that a pensioner should get less than someone who was seeking, what they describe as poor person's relief. And so we equalized those, let them have the same amount. I'm trying to think what else we did, but there was quite a few. Oh, the other thing I did was we raised the thresholds of the exemptions for first-time Caymanian buyers, made it much easier, and the level of fund, the amount that you could have as exempted was increased for across the board. And we were at the time started work on making further changes to enhance that program as well, because of the situation that we found where the real estate market in Cayman was really hot, and it was becoming increasingly more difficult for Caymanians to find and buy their first home within the thresholds to qualify. And as Minister of Finance, I received numerous applications from people to seeking to have some relief or some forbearance on my part in terms of them being able to get their first home. And I was able in a number of cases to assist in that way. So it we did quite a bit, I believe, and I think it's a bit of an unfair malignment, really, to us to say that we weren't for the people. We do care about the people.
Good point. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks, and good morning to your guest there.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I listened to your guest from the time I got into my vehicle this morning because I got my radio works really good, but they just about touched on every subject there is, but I heard nothing mentioned about all of the gold that this country is losing day by day. I haven't heard anything mentioned about that, and I think that is something seriously that should be addressed.
Can you repeat that? The goal?
Yes, the goal of the goal of this country, the life of this country. What that is, right?
Can you explain?
Our beaches,
okay.
Our beaches.
Mm-hmm.
I drive along, and it is so simple what can be done to avoid a lot of this, but nobody is taking it serious. Well, we have to wait until it is absolutely gone before we try to do something about this, right? I drive down South Sound. You had this conversation quite a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I drive down South Sound Road every morning, and I'm watching that whole stretch of beach just disappearing. If these gentlemen drive down there right now, they'll see the seagasm mixing with the sand, and the sand, they dig it so deep now, it's actually down to the rocks, right? So that tells you one thing, right? That the beach is going. There is something called a net, a screen you use whenever any type of coastal work is being conducted. You have to have that in order to try to contain all of the stuff that you're stirring up and so forth. If some of those nets, if some of those nets were used, right, that would help this country or beaches a lot. But it just seems like, nobody is paying any attention to this, right? So I would like if these gentlemen would let me know right now if there's any consideration, anything in the planning to make something happen about the beaches in this country, because if not, it's going to be like everything else. When it's gone, we got to say it's too late. Thanks very much, gentlemen. I'll listen for your reply.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Gentlemen?
You want to take it, Joey?
Yeah, sure. I don't know, I'll start with, he spoke about the sargassum, and there is an issue there, but we have in the past, when they did the beach cleaning, there were two concerns. That was turtle nesting when we were using equipment on the beach, which actually coincides with the sargassum the sargassum season, and there are two issues with the turtle nesting. One, when the sargassum was so thick the turtles couldn't get ashore, and two, it's cleaning up the sargassum or removing it and not crushing any existing turtle nests there. So we always worked with the Department of Environment whenever we cleaned the beaches and removed the sargassum. And the other thing we also had to do was to sieve the sargassum. They would take it to a site and let it dry, and then sieve it and get the sand back to return it to the beach, whichever beach they took it from. And we tried our best not to, and we understood that was a major issue as far as the receding beach line along, in particular along the southern coast, as he said, with the removal of sargassum. On the 7 Mile Beach, the issue with the rising sea levels and the reduction in beach and the seawalls, the effects of the seawalls, we did start a cross-ministerial and department committee just prior to the elections. We signed off on it. That was DOE, Department of Environment, along with the Ministry of Planning, Commerce and Infrastructure, and the Department of Planning. I have not heard, I saw where the Premier visited the sites and has now moved that under his ministry. I haven't heard anything further from that. But there will have to be the removal and the work. But it'll have to be a partnership between government and the private sector in that area. And if it comes down to remediation works and the removal of pools or seawalls and pools, the government will need to find a way to work along with the property owners, perhaps providing whether it's a joint venture or concessions to get them to move these seawalls or move the pools. I don't think it is as easy as telling them to knock them down. And then when you remove them, you're not guaranteed that is going to solve the issue. You still have to do some sand remediation, and protection there to allow the beach to naturally return to the shores. This is a combination of the fact that we do not have an update to our National Development Plan since 1997. Our attempts at getting the Plan Cayman launched prior to COVID, to the shutdown. We were delayed almost a year there because we couldn't have the public consultation, because you couldn't have town hall meetings, etc. And then we ended up with an early election. I haven't heard any more. I know that the current government made utterances during the campaign period that they may find it hard to go back on. But Plan Cayman is an excellent start to the review of the National Development Plan. I can't see this government, I hope this government doesn't make the same mistake that previous governments made in trying to review the entire island and to develop a new plan between now and elections, because it won't happen. This has been the mistake of previous governments over and over and over again. Our approach of breaking the country into 5 zones, because the plan requires you to review it every 5 years. If we break the country into 5 zones and we review one zone a year, at the end of the 5 years we would have reviewed the entire island, and then you start over again. And the strategic document, all of the foundation work has been done. We had fantastic public consultation and engagement in the early stages, and I do hope that they can put politics aside and have a good look at Plan Cayman to see whether it's worth continuing on with, and I think it is, and I'm speaking from the heart here. 7 Mile Beach breaks everyone's hearts, but those developments were built based on the law. And they were built long before we started talking about rising sea levels and global warming, etc. But we have to act fast on it. And the only way to act on it is to work with the developers, work with the landowners, I should say. The properties have all been developed already. And to change the National Development Plan in order to stop future projects from making the same mistakes.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. Here's another question that you can reflect on during the break. And when we return, we'll ask you to respond to it. And this person wanted to know your opinion on the chief medical officer having full control over what medicines or vaccines we should have access to here in the Cayman Islands. And I guess you can speak to the role of the chief medical officer during your administration. We do have a caller on hold as well. We will address the caller as well as the WhatsApp question when we return, so please stay tuned.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola. Taste the feeling, Cayman.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's back, and it's bigger than ever. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman presents PACE, the annual Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life 5K walk, 10K run, and 15K ride event. That's right, parents, kids, young and old. We want you to be a part of the movement to help bring awareness to the fight against prostate and colon cancer. Starting at the Lions Community Center on Sunday, September 19th. Registration fee is only $25 and includes a free shirt and gift bag. The more people that sign up and register, the bigger the fight against prostate and colon cancer. Sunday, September 19th at the Lions Center. Get ready to pace yourself as the Lions Club of Grand Cayman presents the annual Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life 5K walk, 10K run, and 15K ride event. For additional information, please feel free to contact 938-1711 or 526-1711. Sign up today on CaymanActive.com.
For additional information, please email pace@cnw.ky.
The Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life is proudly sponsored by Dart Enterprise, Cayman Seafarers, Maples Group, Bodden Holdings, CUC, Water Authority, and NTEC. Your path to recovery isn't like mine, but when you need a hand with a substance use disorder, reach out until you find one. For information on substance use disorders, including prevention and treatment referral, call the Department of Counseling Services, Caribbean Haven Residential Center at 947-9992 for information on treatment.
Know the risks of underage drinking and be prepared to have a conversation about them. Establishing yourself as a trustworthy source of information on alcohol will make your child more inclined to ask questions and look to you for support and guidance. For tips, log on to www.ndc.ky. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
Hey Dwayne, it's another Siwa saying.
Is it?
Yes, this Friday the 17th of September.
You sure this Friday is the 17th? So, what are we talking about?
Tell me something, you know what the bird is on the 1 cent?
Do we still have a 1 cent? I didn't realize there was a bird on the 1 cent. There's a bird on the way, huh?
Tell me what bird is it on the 1 cent?
I don't know. Tell me. Ching ching. A nightingale. Banana bird.
Try again.
Pigeon.
Join us this Friday and find out. That's a cliffhanger.
Really?
Special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
Join us this Friday.
I heard about thrush moat and bulrush and thrush in the pond.
It's a bird.
It's a bird?
It's a bird.
Bird on the way? Bird on the 1 cent? Is it 1 cent, 10 cent,
Yes.
5 cent, dollar?
For the record with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have less than half an hour left on the show this morning with the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Joey Hew. One caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, O.C.
Good morning, good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Pretty good, thanks.
Yes, and good morning to Honourable Roy and Honourable Hew.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank you personally, Roy, for reviewing some duties way back a few years ago for us. You understand?
Thank you. Sure.
On the other hand, Mr. Hew, you were supposed to be looking into this situation from umpteen amount of years now. I wonder how much longer you have to look into it before you can really get down or make sure that it's done. Because, you know, when people promise me things and they do deal with it the way that they're supposed to deal with it, you know, it sort of upsets me, you know, because you know that this thing went on. You would see copies of what took place, and you still, up until this day, haven't not even a call to say, well, Mr. Moxham or Len or whoever you want to call me, listen, I got to deal with this thing for you. I mean, how can people think about you as being an honest and a truthful politician when you don't maintain some of the things that you say you were going to not do, you know?
Mr. Moxham, we've had this conversation a few times, and in fact, I even saw you in the Brat the other day, and we pleasantly said hello. I did speak to you in the initial, it was years ago, and I explained to you the issue and where you needed to go as far as district administration in Kimmanbrack. This has to do with I think my memory serves me, a dispute between the properties with the police station and the bakery in Kimmanbrack, and I instructed you and I guided you towards district administration. I did follow up with them and pleaded your case, but that is where it fell. And I apologize if you don't feel that I handled it or took it as far as you think I could take it. But all I could do was to take your case to them and to inform you as to where the situation laid and who you needed to see in regards to that, to the process. And that was many, many, many years ago. And when I looked into it last year, I think you called in the station again, nothing had changed from that perspective. I don't remember all the details, but again, it was a matter between yourself and district administration in Kimmanbrack. So again, I apologize to you if you feel that I have not done you right, but that is my recollection of the matter.
Okay, I want to thank that caller for that as well. There's another caller. Okay, caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I would like to say good morning. Especially to Mr. Roy.
Good morning.
And Mr. Hew. Just to say, I got plenty to say, so I want to try to say a little. And then Mr. Roy's defense, he getting beat up this morning. But ladies and gentlemen, as old people would say, I don't pull no back in punches with nobody. I can tell you about Mr. Roy. As I know him, I don't even think he knows who I am. I called Mr. Roy one time, just before campaign started, on behalf of a friend of mine. She had been going back and forth, no results for years. She called me a couple of days after I called him and said, well, I was contacted by so-and-so. I didn't give him the credit that he was that kind of person. I just woke up and said, well, I can call him, and I didn't. Just a couple weeks ago here now, a friend of mine contacted Mr. Roy. She called me back. She said, Charlene, I called him and he answered me back. I, again, did not give him the credit that he would be the kind of person who would do things like that for, you would say, poor people, poor Caymanians. He did it. I know he did it on 2 different occasions. And Mr. Hew, I thank you for picking up the phone and calling the person I called for you for, and you actually went to the yard. So we are not all correct. We are not all perfect, but sometimes we judge people wrong, and I do too, because I'm heaven quick to judge. But I can tell people that I think Mr. Roy McTaggart is not, I wouldn't say he's a good person just because, but we don't give people enough credit sometimes. At least allow people to allow it to be said, well, I contacted you, you know my situation, you did nothing for me. I contacted him twice and all 2 times. We got good results. And Mr. Hew, the same thing. Thank you, gentlemen. And again, we don't need nobody tearing us apart right now. Government, Mr. Premier, try to find your colleagues. And the country needs everybody, not some, to shine. The country needs to be safe. I'm looking forward to security. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good morning.
Thank you. Just want to say thank you to the caller for, I recognize now who she is, for the very kind comments and very public comments at that. They really make me feel good. in that, a lot of times when people do call us OC and we take on their position, we deal with it. But we never often don't hear of the outcome that it was acted on and their situation was resolved. And I'm really, I feel good that in both these cases I was aware of one, but not necessarily the other. So thank her very much for the very positive comments.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that call in reaching out to both myself and Mr. McTaggart were helping other people, not herself.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Well, this is, I have a WhatsApp message that I'm going to do before the caller, and the person wanted to know from the opposition what happens if a business is a supermarket and they get one or multiple positive cases. Is the expectation to close the store when there is one or multiple instances of cases of COVID-19? Now, of course, you can't speak for the government, but under what would have been the position under your administration?
Yeah, we had that situation happen when we were reopening the economy. And in those instances, the supermarkets closed for a few hours, sometimes early for the day. The persons were identified, their departments were identified, and everyone was isolated, and the place was sanitized and cleaned, and then reopened the next day. That was what actually took place previously when we had entered into the shelter-in-place regime, and we were testing the frontline workers. So that had been the protocol. Like you said, I don't know what they would do now.
Okay. Ms. Susan, what do you want to take the break or take the caller since they've been holding on and then take the break afterwards? Okay, we're going to take caller. Hang in there. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we return, we will take your call as the last call for the morning because we want to give our guests an opportunity for wrap-up comments as well. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Had a look at those investment options yet? Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
So, do you have your tickets?
What tickets?
Your tickets for UCCI's first ever alumni homecoming. They're on sale now.
Hey, I don't want to miss that. When is it?
October 28th. There'll be a dinner gala, silent auction, live entertainment, and more. It's a chance to reconnect with UCCI, past classmates, and those instructors that helped change your life.
Where do I get my tickets?
At EventPro. They have discounted early bird tickets for only $75 per person, but after September 25th, prices are due to go up.
The alumni homecoming sounds great. I'm going to eventpro.ky right now.
Each Tuesday and Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of the Business Buzz is brought to you by Optical Outlook. Visit them at their new location in Anderson Square. Telephone 746-2020. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook.
If you think you might be infected with COVID-19, take these steps to help prevent other people from getting sick. Stay home except to seek medical care. Call your doctor before visiting. Separate yourself from others who live with you. Wear a mask. Cover your coughs and sneezes with a tissue and clean your hands right away. Schedule a COVID-19 test by visiting hsa.ky. Stay aware of how you feel. If you start to have difficulty breathing, or if you're worried about your health, call your doctor. For more tips, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to take our last caller for the morning, so we're going to ask that caller to please be as brief as possible. We're going to have less than 10 minutes left and want to give our guests an opportunity for some closing comments as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Especially to your guests, for people of the Cayman Islands.
Good morning.
And to yourself. What I want to say is that no matter what group of politicians we put in there, we will have people that will complain because they never feel they got enough done, or they just not happy with the individual itself. It's nothing to do with the individual. But what I think, listening to the caller when they called in about Mr. Hew, I think that could be a learning point for a lot of us. You know, we are politicians. We are there for the people. We are there for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Stick to the country issues rather than getting into issues that really don't involve the country, because that's really what we're there for. And for me, I thought that was a more personal issue. And if it was personal, it should have been spoken.
But you don't think that the role of the politician also is to deal with individual issues as well?
You deal with individual issues as your representative, not as a country, not as a country issue.
Okay.
As a representative, yes, but not as a country issue. That was my take with it. I didn't think that Mr. Hew, while I do believe Mr. Hew did the best in what he could do, don't get me wrong, I recognize the caller as well. And I mean, for me, you know, you deal with that on a personal level, because Mr. Hew, I'm sure, was doing it on a personal level. But for me, that should have been a representative issue to deal with, not a country issue.
Got you.
That was my difference in it.
Got you. Thank you.
Thank you all, and I think you all did a great job, Mr. Hew and your team. And I was kind of surprised that the new government, don't get me wrong, I support the new government, and I was kind of surprised that the new government didn't bring in more of your people to let their ministers understudy for the next 4 years. I was kind of surprised at that. But just to let you all know, I think you all did a great job, and I trust that the new government will do the same with all the support that they can get. You know, go behind them, and if they're slipping anywhere, you know, have a talk with them and say, you know, this is how I would have did it. I mean, we all need a little backup sometimes. So just continue to put the country first and its people.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
God
caller. Thank you very much. Okay, so one thing that I didn't get to, I want to talk about was the vaccine mandates, and I'll mention it now. If you can cover it in your closing comments, fine. But it is quite obvious that being vaccinated is going to make a difference. We have struggled to get to that 80% and that we need to get to. I think there's almost an acknowledgement that we may not get there. If vaccines are so important, then do we need to have certain mandates as far as vaccine is concerned? This government has said no, that they would not do it. Previous government did not have a vaccine mandate as well. But we also have the observation about the chief medical officer and his role in terms of approving what vaccines are allowed in the Cayman Islands. And I'd like you to speak to what obtained in your administration as to the role of the chief medical officer.
Well, I do believe, in my understanding is OC, that the chief medical officer, he is a chief medical advisor to the government. And that is his role. I think you're speaking as well as the recent amendments to the regulation giving him certain powers. I don't know the facts or circumstances that led to such a derogation being given to him, but I personally may not necessarily have taken that route. My view is that these people there as chief advisors to the government, that the advice should be given to the government, and it is ultimately the cabinet that would probably take these decisions, because we bear the responsibility. And so that's where I think I would place the responsibility in terms of the ultimate decision making. The recommendation should come to government, but ultimately, I mean, none of us there within our government certainly were medical experts in any way. So you have to rely on the technical expertise that you have, and but the decision making, I think, a final authority ought to rest with the cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Hew, anything to add?
I'll add on the idea of vaccine mandates, and I think what the government has decided to do is to leave it up to each individual business. I think, unlike and even we see around the world, and even some very small instances of it here, where there were mask mandates, and there were those who were fervently against wearing a mask for different reasons. Again, some medical, some personal choice, freedom of choice, those sorts of things. But it goes back to what I spoke about earlier with the local economy and giving the businesses the right to decide if they want to open and whether they want, and the opportunity to check for vaccines at the door, and that's a company policy. That's a restaurant's policy. You have three types of people when we talk about vaccines. And we have those who are unable due to medical reasons to take the vaccine or age. You have those who choose not to take the vaccine as a personal choice. And then, of course, you have the vaccinated. For those who are unable to take the vaccine, whether it's medical or because you're under the age of 13, and those who make that personal choice, we have to ensure that the basic necessities of life are available to them and they're protected. They have to be able to go to hospitals, supermarkets, places to carry out daily life chores, to pay bills, etc. They have to be protected. We have to ensure that. I think outside of that, it's a personal choice then. If you want to go somewhere that's requiring or not requiring a vaccine, we understand that we have to. The future is, and Dr. Lee said it yesterday, everyone says it, everyone has accepted it, that the future is that we will have to live with COVID like we live with the flu and other things. So they will have to make a personal choice, whether they wear a mask when they go out in public, or whether they do go out and go to events or go to restaurants that allow indoor seating, etc. Those will have to be personal choices for those individuals. But I think the government has decided to leave it up to businesses, and if you do that, and if we're basing the opening on vaccines, then you should allow businesses to make that choice as well.
Okay. While you have the mic, any other closing comments?
Yeah, thank you, O.C. Time flies when you're having fun, they say. And thank you for having us, and thank you for all those who called in. Whether positive or negative, it's important, and I thank everyone who has been with us. I've been receiving a lot of messages that have been listening in for the entire time, and we thank you for taking the time to listen to us. As I said earlier on in the program, this is, when we speak about COVID in particular, this is not an issue that I wish to make a political topic. I want to reiterate and reassure the public that we are here to help. We are not here to break down anything the government is doing. We would like a bit more communication from the government. If they do not want to form a bipartisan committee, at least allow us to receive updates from the public health officials, or Dr. Lee, or whomever it may be. We were elected by the majority of the persons in our constituency to represent them, and this is a national issue. This is a major issue that affects many people across the board for many different reasons. Many are losing their homes, losing their businesses. Many are concerned about their loved ones and their health. It affects every single person in this community, and we cannot do our job properly if we're not informed. We cannot represent our people properly if we don't have the opportunity to And so if the general public hear us sounding a bit political because we have a press conference or the leader puts out a message or we come on the radio, it's because we are not getting the opportunity to participate and we're not being informed. On that note, I want to take an opportunity to thank the hazard management team. They have an emergency broadcast that they do by WhatsApp and by email, and that's where I've been getting my information. It comes a little late, but at least I have information that's coming from a reliable source that I can share with my chat groups throughout my constituency. If I didn't have that, then I wouldn't know what to tell. I wouldn't be able to help the government in getting the word out and to spread their message and to inform my constituents. I do want to recognize that they do a pretty good job of getting us information. I want to thank them for that. So with those few words, or not so few words, again, thank you for having us, and we'll see you in the future.
Mr. Leader?
Well, I see we're at less than 10 seconds away from the end
we'll stretch
of the
it a little
program.
bit, I'm sure.
But hey, as always, OC, thank you for hosting us this morning. Always good to be here, and always good to have lively conversation with you, and it's always very, very positive, and I thank you for that. I had really wanted to just remind the public as well that, despite all the challenges that we have with COVID right now, and I know that we're all focused on that, but let's also remember we are still at the height of the hurricane season, and we need to be prepared on many fronts. We need to be cautious on many fronts, and just encourage the populace as a whole to pay attention to and give credence to only the news from the official channels. That's the important part. We all want, government and the opposition, we all want people to remain safe. We all want you to remain healthy. And we want what is always best for Cayman. And I think if we continue to work as we have, and that we will get through this together. And I think that really is the message that I would like to leave with our people this morning. We can get through it. It looks like dark days with the community spread again with the virus, but we'll beat this too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here as well. I want to thank my audience. I just want to say to you, continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. John Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group, Money at Work.
Today's biggest news.